classy, get together to enjoy Master of the Game. Master of the Game brings you distinguished personalities, leaders, achievers, captains of industry, innovators, masterful storytellers, creatives, and entertainers, all hosted by a Master of the Game.
His Royal Blackness, KKD, the finest.
Catch Master of the Game on CTV. Oh yes, nuggets of inspiration and delightful treats for your enjoyment. Whether you love power, money, beauty, or fame, there is so much to learn from Master of the Game. Only in the place to be. The coolest channel, CTV. Hello and welcome to Master of the Game, the program on which we bring you the movers, shakers, icons and legends of our beloved motherland, Ghana. My name is Darkwah, Kwasi Darkwah. And today I'm delighted to be united with you as always, and I'm very delighted to be united with one of my Ghanaian heroes, a great man who I have so much faith in for the way he dreamt. And then when he woke up, he didn't let his dreams die. Created an enterprise that brought work to so many so they may feed their families. Created a business that made it possible for people who could not access loans from banks to now get these loans and start their own enterprises. Grew his business into such a big brand and expanded throughout West Africa and other parts of the world. But somewhere along the line, something happened. Still, he stands tall because he knows he has done right by his nation and by himself. And today I am delighted to be with the former military officer and the founder of UT Holdings, Prince Kofi Amoabeng.
Nice to be here.
Good to see you.
Always good to see you.
You
are the man.
You're looking very young.
Thank you. I feel young as well, not just look, but I feel.
What do you do to keep?
I put worries away. I don't hate anybody. I don't bear grudges. I don't worry about the past. I eat well once a day, mostly.
Once a day?
Yeah, I play golf about 3-4 times a week. I exercise in the gym once a week. I sleep at least 7 hours every day. And I get loads and loads of laughs.
You drink a lot of water too?
A lot of water. At least 3 liters of water a day. So at least I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, because you know your health is your #1 thing. Without good health, forget about everything else. Money, whatever, is all gone if you don't keep your health straight.
And after health, what's your greatest passion?
Education. Acquire a lot, build capacity, know about the world, and as much as possible. So read. Unfortunately now we don't read social media, but I still read. And of course, have a mind, positive mind of learning. Now my mind is about learning from the kids, especially when it comes to IT and these social media gadgets and things like that. I get my grandchildren to show me where to go, how to do it, you know, part of history. But you need to live. And I want to live for a long time.
How long?
So long as I'm healthy, I wouldn't mind being 90.
Was this great enterprise, UT Bank and then UT Financial Services and then UT Holdings, where did the nucleus?
When I was born, I hear I was very ugly. my grandma.
You hear from who? Your mother's
my
enemies?
grandma, even when I grew up, she would always say that, if you see who pan wire finds out, you know. So that's the first thing. I was very, very bad, and you would say I was truant. I risked and chained me to a pillar, and then put rice and margarine. I love that. So I'll cry as much as possible and then eat the rice and sleep. And then people will ask him, "You are trying to raise an animal." He's not an animal, he's a human being. My dad will always say, "I prefer an animal that's alive than a human being that is dead." And that's part of my childhood. So
you were restless, you were always moving about.
Completely restless. And I started drinking beer at the age of 4.
What?
Yeah.
Who gave it to you?
Well, my dad, but something happened. You know, my dad caught me siphoning the little drops under the bottles of beer they had finished drinking. And he said, what is that about? I said, I want to drink some of the beer you guys have been drinking. And he said, okay, you come. He sat me down, opened a fresh bottle of beer. Those days there were no fridge, so it's warm. And he poured me, I didn't know I was learning for myself, something like that. I'll do all the bad things, then get into exams time, I'll dedicate the last 2 weeks and learn with candlelight and sleepless tablets just for my dad. But I was naturally brilliant. I didn't have to learn much to get a good grade.
I'm made to understand you're always one of the youngest in class?
Almost. I got to Adisada College at the age of 12. I finished O-level 17. Finished A-level 19. Finished university 22 in 1974.
What did you study at uni?
School of Administration, accounting major.
Accounting major?
Yeah. I'm a chartered accountant, so that's been my path.
Let's talk about when you were in university. What was school life like?
Oh, wow. It's a far cry.
Because your disco life is very well documented, so I'll leave that for
It's
today.
a far cry from what university students are experiencing now. I mean, in the first place, I was written to P.O. Box 32 Kukrantumi, admitted to University of Ghana School of Administration. No connection, nothing. And then went for orientation, and we started. And we had 3 square meals a day: breakfast, lunch, dinner, with ice. And it was 100 cedis a year. It was plenty of money. And one thing for you to know it's plenty of money, when I had my millions, I said the first 1 cedi charter taxi to those days Continental Hotel, which is now Lancaster, used to be Golden Tulip. Buy 1 bottle of Kufuado, we used to call the short.
The short.
Buy a packet of Rothmans. Finish my 1 bottle beer. Back to school, 1 cedi.
Wow.
Everything cost 1 cedi. So 100 cedis was a lot of money. And of course, we had all sort of amenities, hall tutors, course tutors, all sort of things to aid you. And life was very, very rosy. And
so university life was a good life.
And most people, by the time you finish, you've got a job. So, and you had 1 room to yourself. I mean, I was in Sabah Hall 3rd year, and I had a whole room with balcony, everything to myself. So the balcony was really extra. You just go and stand there and shout to the person at the other end. So that is the kind of life we had at the university. Very easy, accommodating, easy to learn. We used most of the time to fool ourselves, seeing Hini in Sabah Hall, because I spent a lot of time fooling in Sabah Hall. But ended up with a 2nd class all the same. And those days, 2nd class wasn't easy to come by. I remember our time, sometimes only 1 person probably would get a 1st class, and a few people would get 2nd class, upper, and they would have a lot more lower and 3rd class.
Did the class you made matter?
See what kind of class you had. So yes, it would matter. But in real life, it didn't. Because I've seen a lot of people who had, my mates and those who are not, had 3rd class, and they even turn out to be maybe achievers more than those who had 1st class. Because our mate who had 1st class probably went ahead and lectured in some university. And I have people, my mates who did lower and 3rd class, who are really big. And I turned out to be who I am. So she's been a very successful person. Now, if I have quite worldly things like the education I have, the good health that I have, the love with that, to impact the world positively, you have to do it honestly. Because if you don't do it honestly, you cause the opposite of impacting the world.
If there was somebody you could look at today and say, okay, young man, if you're not sure, look at this one. This is a shining example of success. What names immediately come to mind?
It's quite wide. In academia, in priesthood, everywhere. The dedication, the honesty, and the passion with which they do it with the intention of impacting people's lives and making them foundation. And I said, yes, that is it. What we lack in this country is that we have a wrong mindset. And that mindset doesn't allow us to get good leaders or enough of them. And the problem of Ghana and Africa is about leadership.
There's the problem everywhere in the world.
Yeah, so I said, but Africa's problem is huge. So I said, if the problem is with leadership, I need to cause a change. Now, if you know your problem, you should go and see an expert. So if you are sick, you need a medical doctor.
Sure.
If you have bad teeth, you have to see a dentist from the skies. They need to be created. So our problem is we have to create leaders who have good values and mean well, with the right values like be God-fearing, respect everybody, respect the rules and laws, love people, and so on and so forth. That's the kind of leaders that we want. Because if you look at some of the things that our leaders do, it's the opposite of what I'm talking to young people, talking to some corporate executives, and then we have a flagship program that the Kofi Amoabeng scholars, where I take some scholars 20 every year and take them through 1 year of intentional mentoring and boot camp, and I'm with them and we do Zoom calls and things, and I allocate to them special mentors so that they will really earn the values and come out as the right kind of leadership. And I tell you, I can sleep better because I talk to some of these people, the youth that I'm talking about.
Evergreen memories. Wow. We kind those days in front of him. Abra bafu for na parenting edi ono enkwada eba. Ejina wan kono na me put me say. Na ebe but anche. We bonded as colleagues at the dining hall, the dormitories, classrooms. It just said, me na kan ye bomo prekope. But the question is, and now we hey, na squad you were here. Olege were here. Floozy. Any boys in here? Where you stay? Maybe a school, no? We are by the point. Ibinimu Tukwan, Ibinimu Ko University, Ibinimu Babrabomu Semunti. They had to retire to the villages. We are here to reunite you and ensure that we can help each other. But before that, St. Louis, Ola, Wegehi, Holiko, Preset, CTV Agaroma, the Mochi program neighbor, Family and Friends Reunion. Join me, Dr. Kofi Anand, on Family and Friends Reunion as we share memories and experiences in life, only on CTV, Ghana's #1.
CTV, Ghana's #1.
Those who know, and those who learn gets to know too. The leaders, the innovators, the decision makers, and the keen learners, they watch Master of Game. And this Monday on Master of the Game with King Kwasi Darkwah, only on CTV, Ghana's #1. Our special guest is 3 in a row Primus Inter Paris, Ghana's most respected CEO for 2008, 2010, and 2012, Prince Kofi Amoabeng, the game changer, founder of Unique Trust Financial Services, author and former military officer who caused a paradigm shift in the lending industry in Ghana, starting with 3 employees and growing his enterprise into a robust holding company, UT Holdings, with a keen team and several subsidiaries in Ghana, Africa, and Europe. He changed the game. Catch us live on CTV, Ghana's #1, 10 a.m. to 12 midday. Master of the Game. Also streaming on Class 91.3 FM and on Facebook. Of power, money, or fame, there is much to learn from Master of the Game. On Master of the Game with my special guest, Prince Kofi Amoabeng, industry titan in the banking sector, and now a mentor and coach for many young people, because he says his passion and his motivation now is to build leaders for the future. But I want to find out your first job after university.
Incidentally, I've not been employed before. Yeah, but my first job, national service.
Well,
So I'm a past tutor of Accra Academy.
what did you teach?
I was teaching accounting and general paper. And that was straight from school. But that was cut short. Now, I'll tell you a funny thing. When I was teaching Accra Academy, that time I was irresponsible,
What do you mean?
indisciplined.
What do you mean?
I mean, my pay then was probably 7 days, even though it was enough money to take me through the month, because I was gambling and I'll go for night clubbing and all sorts of things.
A teacher?
Yes. So by the 7th, depending on the turn of events, I'm probably broke. Maybe I'll borrow a bit of money and then I'll win a bit of money. But then I was sleeping, getting home after 2 p.m. every day for sure. Sometimes 4 a.m. After 2 a.m. Sometimes 4 a.m. One time I go to the class, things like that. And the food wasn't enough because you are constantly wasting energy. And when you feel like maybe you haven't been to the toilet, for lack of a better word, for maybe 3-4 days, and you feel maybe I can go, and you come out of your room to the toilet, you have to run. By the time you run there, it's gone. The feeling is gone, so you run back. It's very interesting experiences, you know. And as I said, the food is not enough, but then it's to break you down, break the civilian in you down, and rebuild you as a different person, an officer and a gentleman. It's a fantastic transformation.
What was the hardest time you faced in the army?
The hardest time, a lot of it. You know, I'm very...
A lot of it?
Oh, yeah, I'm very controversial. I think one of the toughest one was, and it's in my book again, when my roommate, I had to assist my roommate to run away from Military Academy. Because my roommate couldn't. And when he was trying to steal his own egg in the dining room. And then one senior cadet shouted at him and said, "Hold on, officer, you are stealing your own egg." And he said, I mean, enough is enough. So I agreed.
You mean stealing your own egg?
To go. But the interesting thing is that in the night, when we were going for a road run, and his name was mentioned, because it was dark, that's about 4:30ish. His name was mentioned, and I responded for him, and then I also responded for myself. And we packed his things, I helped him pack his things to what we used to call, I forgot the name now, Mango Grove. Well, packed the thing in the Mango Grove.
Which camp was this?
This is Military Academy, Teshi. Now, he was supposed to leave before we came, but by the time we came, dawn has broken. When we got back, he was asleep.
Oh, no.
He wasn't ready for the day's work. His goods, his whole... Then they drove me back. And after I had to go for interview and recount how it all happened and things like that, they want to just be sure that he's run away. And interesting enough, some of the instructors love it when cadets run away. It's like it was tough for somebody to run away. So that was my toughest day. I mean, everyone was after me because my roommate ran away. But otherwise, I also had good moments.
Did you get into any trouble?
Oh yeah, a lot of it. In fact, I recounted a few of the instances in my book.
Which one of them?
This one, the very first.
The
book.
UT story.
Yeah, where I moved. That's why the cover has got a civilian and a military man.
Oh yes.
That is going from civilian to military. So it got some interesting stories about the military academy in there. I was there for 8 months.
And then?
I got commissioned as a lieutenant. And lieutenant, I was posted to Arakan Barracks 5 Battalion for battalion training because I went with a degree and to go to the pay office. But then you go for battalion training, and after that you go to your mother unit. After that, I went to pay office as my mother unit. And I was quite lucky. After I'd been to pay office, pay master, gone for YO's course and a few other things, I had a scholarship to go to the UK. And I went to the UK for 1.5 years and came back as a chartered accountant. At the time, I was the only chartered accountant in the Ghana Armed Forces. And I came back after the first rolling school, 1979. That's when I came back.
What did you feel about a coup, being a military officer yourself?
You see, and before that, I must say, I love the Army. The Army is a very, 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 very great organization. It's where you can train the best leaders, without doubt. Because you're talking about training people to ensure or engender trust for them to give up their life to follow you, the leader, because they believe you can take them to war and bring them back. And you, the leader, also have to be responsible for your men and trust that with them you can go and win your wars or perform your duties and come back safely. So the training is fantastic. And in the Army, it's not difficult. You know what you're supposed to do. You know what is right and what is wrong. And the system works perfectly.
So how do we have an army like that in a country where we have people polluting the waters because a few want gold?
But it's not the army that is in charge of that. Typical army person is in the barracks. And the order should come.
And when the commander-in-chief fails, we leave it to the electorate. The army still stays in the
army
barracks.
should not even come in. But it's even worse now, because it's not just that we left the army, we've even gotten the army people protecting some people are here who are doing galamsey or illegal mining. So now the soldiers have come to know gold and know money.
But if you're saying the army must not be involved because you're in the barracks, how come they're now protecting the people who are polluting the waters?
Because the politicians and the leaders are putting them there. Soldiers won't go.
So this thing where
soldiers will not go.
Zombie or zombie must be true then, because
yes,
if they say go, you go,
but now,
even though it's bad.
Yeah, of course, that's what a soldier is about. You know, when I was a lieutenant in 5 battalion, I had only one civilian attire, one batakari. Everything that I had was my uniforms and things like that. Batakari is just in case I have to go to town, then I'll put a batakari on my trousers so I don't look like a soldier. Sack, and it's your pillow. And you are sitting in front of your company with your head on your haversack, ready to be called to any place in this world. So that when they say move, you don't know when you are next coming. And that is a typical soldier. You live your life for the country, and the country also takes care of the head of state. Yeah, you don't. He may suggest, but that's what he wants. Yes, because he represents the people, and he's the commander-in-chief. You know? So, what I was trying to say is that when we had this Rawlings era where the army had been turned upside down, and generals and colonels or whatever were and the reason why I left was because I was a chartered accountant. And most of my mates, good professional soldiers, that was their business. They didn't have what I had. I had chartered account which I could use in the civilian life. So even though I didn't have a plan B, I decided that, listen, I don't like the army anymore. So I will step out and come what may, I think I will survive because I had a qualification. That's how come I left. But with every coup, and I'll say this, with every coup, the very good soldiers will probably get killed defending the order of the day, or go into exile, or I think I need you. I have to be very, very careful. Maybe your party is in power, so how can I come and discuss with you? So I think a coup is very unlikely because it's been politicized, and also because the soldiers have come to know money. Someone told me this, I don't have any proof, that a senior officer in Ghana Armed Forces has bought a place or bought a place at AU Village for the girlfriend. I mean, I had only Batakari and nothing else. How can we have an army which has really gone that bad? That soldiers now know money. Soldiers, you're not supposed to know money. I mean, everywhere, soldiers, money is, I mean, it's a simple life, dedicating your life to the country and serving your country and things like that.
So once you choose to serve, you must forget about selfishness. And
exactly. And the world has been politicized. Everything. The judiciary, of course, the MPs or their own parties, the institutions, the head of state. We're talking about it probably. I mean, how is that possible?
How can you even know that many people who are really that competent?
So everything is politics. The interesting thing is, when it comes to Africans, to develop, we have a proverb which says, "Akoko obeng ne maame, enonya abebesere." Life. Now, if you look at the English equivalent to it, it says, "Early bird catches the worm." It means hard work, but we don't go by that. So we find everybody gravitating toward the politician or the leaders that be, and people see me and they said, "Hey, Kofi, have you gone to greet your friend?" I said, "Friend, and I'm happy he's won and he's a president, but you don't rush." I'm sure people, I'm happy he's won and he's a president, but you don't rush. I'm sure people were probably up to now probably queuing to go and show their face that they are this. I think it's difficult for him. I pity him, you know, because people don't want to do things for themselves. They just want to hang on and get something out of it.
But talking about observing the Constitution in leadership, so too we must observe good practice in whatever field of endeavor we are in. There's been a little conundrum lately where the president is appointing CEOs, but he's appointing CEOs in advance of appointing the boards that should man those companies. What do you say to that as somebody who has run an enterprise for years? And what do you say to that as somebody who has run an enterprise for years? And what do you say to that in the construct of corporate governance? Because if you're appointing the CEO even before your board has been constituted, when in actual fact it is the board which should be appointing the CEO, in future, when there is a problem, wouldn't the CEO be telling the board, "Are you appointed? I'm also appointed. Who are you to come and tell me what to do?"
You're right, but it's become the practice. Because the CEOs, of course, they run the institutions, and it should be on the advice of the board or direction of the board. But the CEOs are the most powerful people. And the politicians want the people that they want to control and manipulate directly. So then they appoint the CEO. And in addition to that, appoint the board. But it's been a norm for all the parties that come to power. It is not right.
The problem with it being the norm is the bigger problem.
Yeah,
because you would think that if some of your predecessors...
It's not easy. I'm not a politician. I haven't gone around trying to gather votes and kind of, but it is not an easy thing. So it's easier for us to sit here and say that, let them appoint the board secured. And we here can't complain about it. So I don't think we should go that way. That is the norm, that's what suits them, and they have won the power, and therefore let them do what is right. But then it depends what each leader wants to do. But it's difficult to say that you're going to leave the appointment of CEOs who are the who goes there. I think after they've been through all these problems, they want to know who goes there.
I'm interested in knowing how you appointed your staff.
Me?
You started with 3 people. You gave a loan in how many hours?
48.
48 hours. You changed the lending industry in Ghana because of that. How did you appoint your staff to ensure that your company was efficient and effective?
Well, I had an HR, we had an HR policy headed by, of course, the head of HR, and I gave her the full powers, but as per the HR policies and everything. And I didn't interfere in it. In actual fact, the people that you may say I influenced, all I did was write on their CVs, that is people that I knew, and I would say, invite this person for interview when there's appropriate vacancy. So I have helped you to reach the interview stage and go and prove yourself. When it comes to the very top people, select someone, but never ever interfere in it. because it's about merit. I believe in merit more than whom you know. And one thing is, once you interfere, and the few times that I did, or I didn't go through the full process, it had to bite me in the back, in the butt. I remember I had a friend that I thought was the best hard worker and things like that. I came, I told HR, and I told the board members, I said, listen, this guy can do this job for us. So he just went through it because I had said, you know, and he cost us a lot of money. Because nobody could touch him because they said he was my closest friend. And he used that to exploit the system. So it's good to just go by the system. I believe now, as I sit here, everything in me is about systems. Policies, rules, this, that, whatever the people put together to guide them in their development and protection and how to go forward must be respected by everybody. And if you go contrary to that, you should face the sanctions. It's not difficult at all. See, the problem we have in Africa is that there are too many distractions, things that pull you away from doing what is right. Because we have our own system as against the normal system that you expect. Because if you're running a company, you have your own family and friends. That's the first problem you have, the interference. Oh, Kofi, my brother, Kofi, your own cousin, da, 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 and so on and so forth. And it's easy to say, don't succumb to it. But in reality, the ordinary Ghanaian can't say no to it. Because, listen, maybe your big brother took care of you through school. And now you started some small business. And your big brother now says, take this guy. How can you say no?
No, I'll find a job for him elsewhere.
No, most people can't say no. Because you know you owe your life and everything to your big brother.
I'll find a job for him elsewhere.
Listen, for most people, it's difficult for them to say no. I have a cousin who was looked after with family money. They sold family lands to pay his fees through to university. When he became an engineer, a metallurgist, at some point they called him and said, we use the family money to take care of you, and now people are encroaching on our farms and everything. We don't have any educated person, so you have to come and become a busiapeni. And he left, retired early, and became a busiapeni. So what I'm saying is that the influence of these institutions, yes, traditional institutions, it weighs heavily on a lot of companies. That's why most companies actually fail. You've got the friends and family one, then you've got the pastors one, the churches one. Some people are so attached to their churches and their pastors that their pastor becomes the head of procurement, the pastor becomes the head of HR, pastors tell them what to do and how the company is going to go. I've had people sit in front of me looking for a loan, and I asked them a question about what he's going to do, and he said, Mr. Amoabeng, pastor. I said, tell your pastor to come and take the loan himself. You don't qualify for the loan. I mean, so if the pastor says, take such a person, they can't say no. Or sack this person, they can't say no. The same goes for our traditional elders and things like that. Some people even leave the company, and become busiapeni, or what do you call it, nkosohene, and all sort of things. And the company suffers. Then, of course, you've got politicians also controlling company and deciding which companies should succeed and which company they don't like and therefore should collapse.
I was on a meeting with a few fellow CEOs recently, and we're talking about government appointments. And one of them says, Kwasi, you know very well that some people who have been appointed, but for a government appointment, will never be even a deputy head of any department anywhere in that. He says, it looks like when we have state institutions, we just leave the state institutions that belong to all of us at the mercy of people who we know are not fit to run them, just because there's something called a political appointment. Mm-hmm. And then he started naming some of the companies, and I said, why don't you write an article about it? He says, Kwasi, it's an exercise in futility if I write an article about it, because nobody's going to do anything about it.
He even becomes an enemy.
An enemy to who?
To the political party.
Why?
Because you are criticizing their people.
But it's the truth.
But that's
When I criticized people, I became an enemy.
Okay.
I'm still here.
Okay, that's right. But you have a different heart. Some people can't stomach it. I mean, it's true, but listen, we should try. I try to understand the politicians. I can't imagine what they've been through. I know they've been through a lot, and they have to do a balancing act. If you look at the appointments this government, President Mahama is doing, I think he's doing a complicated balancing act, but I like it. He's putting some people with merit. Why there's the merit, or the people have the merit in the party, then he gives them the position. Where the person is really popular with the party and the foundation of the party, he gives a little bit to them too. And then of course he's not faithful that he's not giving all the positions to them. So it is a difficult thing. Once they win the power, some people, it's their business. So it's not politics. The politics is their business. So they put in their lot, and therefore when you come to power, you must take care of us because it is our party.
If you can't appoint me, appoint my nephew.
Yeah. Now you're talking. So we have to understand. Yeah? No, it will make winning difficult. But I think if we make the right changes and start empowering the institutions, talking about institutions, one institution that really we have to look at is the judiciary. Because you see, the judiciary is so important, so powerful. If you look at our coat of arms, what we are talking about is freedom and justice. It's the only institution that's mentioned in our coat of arms. And the judiciary is causing us so much problems. And they're not letting it go to court. Your time is being wasted. In actual for your life is being wasted. I tell people the most important resource every living thing has is time. When your time is finished, it means you are dead. Now, when your case goes to court and it stays there for 10 years, 20 years, even debt collection, I was sitting on debt collection for 8 years, if not 10. When you waste somebody's time, you know what I call it? You committed a percentage of murder. Because murder is when you end the person's life completely. Now, if you take 2 hours, so for some reason, the government decides that UT Bank must go under, right? So they collapse the bank.
Must go under.
Yeah. In fact, the IMF had instructed them or had a part to play. But the point is that the bank goes under. I had left, at the time they collapsed the bank, I had left the bank 20 months, almost 2 years. Then they filed charges against me.
What are the charges?
That I moved money from. What happens is that they orchestrate the court and the charges in such a way that not only have they collapsed my bank and destroyed the UT brand and therefore a suspected criminal, your words don't get far. In fact, nobody will even want to do business with you openly. People don't even want to associate with you because and that's what I've been through for about 8 years.
8 years.
So, in relation to the Opunike thing, it's taken away from you, and now they have to silence you too, so they keep you in court.
So by keeping you in court, you can speak because the case is in court.
It's in court.
And then?
And then you are a suspected criminal. And it's the state versus Prince Kofi Amoabeng. And
how do the people who instigate this benefit? Because you know the thing about stupidity is that you cause somebody harm, but you don't benefit either.
But
that is stupidity.
But that is it's typical with most black people. They envy you. They are happy.
How many people lost their job when UT went down?
At the time, UT, let's say in 2012, UT was employing directly over 2,500 people.
And you know, in Ghana, everybody who's employed helps 10 to 15 people.
So, you know, and they're looking at maybe Kofi Amoabeng. They're not looking at all the things that you're talking about. and they can sleep.
When we come back, I want to talk about what it is Kofi Amoabeng did. Did he date somebody's lady? Did he take meat out of somebody's mouth? Did he prevent somebody from getting the full amount of loan money he was requesting? Why was he such a target? Why was his bank closing these banks than they would have spent saving the banks and the government taking shares in it for Ghana, our motherland? Right after this on Master of the Game.
Apostle Francis Oduro World Outreach Ministry akawo hubiom the School of Ministry anyame enam Apostle Francis Oduro so nyame adom wo so ana wo da eso ene yisremu kire se nyame aton sa fraw amanyame aduma ana mpose wo nyame sumu dada nanso unim adom kura ewa wo so ene na akwanya beda ho ma wo se woni the School of Ministry ebesua de
enti obachew na wo feeder operate.
School of Ministry Bemau a boarding credibility say international certificate in ministry and international diploma in ministry.
Start the training now.
Evergreen memories. Wow. We kind those days and in front of him. Abraya buffer for now parenting Eddie or more and Quada Eba. You know one corner and me put something for say. And a baby. But I'm check. It's heavy. We bonded as colleagues at the dining hall, the dormitories, classrooms. It's just said, you not can you boom up. But the question is, and now we'll hey, now squad you are here. Or like you are here. Floozy, anyone. Binimu to Kwai, Binimu Ko University. Binimu Babrabomu 70. They had to retire to the villages. We are here to reunite you and ensure that you know that you are home common. Now, we can help each other. Pico, Preset, and St. Peter's, and Uncle Bishop Herman, and St. Augustine. This is the platform for you. CTV Adaroma, the most program neighbor, Family and Friends Reunion. Join me, Dr. Kofi Annan, on Family and Friends Reunion as we share memories and experiences in life, only on CTV, Ghana's #1.
CTV, Ghana's #1.
2024 has been an amazing year, but I believe 2025 is going to be much better. We at Hisense want to say a very big thank you to you for patronizing us. Stay blessed and Happy New Year. I go by the name Dance God Lloyd. Official
2025, we can't wait to see you. We can't wait to have fun with you. Hisense loves you. It's your girl Afrenita, Official
2024, say Hisense money koye maudia. And then 2024, nye juma. Ya damwase. Hisense mama Official Hisense, everyday prices for everyday people.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Order for meeting at the Evangelist Pemuka from 7th Day Universal Mercy Center Asafomu. I see exactly 1:00 p.m. Yenemo ebeche eye enkwaje asamti from adamfo nefra unya from bibiara wonemno kaise Evangelist Pemuka aba yebeche enkwaje asam. Nyame nhira mo omamunye kese omamunyina mufri adomu enko adomu. Ye wonya kopon nhira nyina. Amen.
Hello, it's a whole brand new season of the Siudine TV show. My name is Odansini Odilia. We come your way this and every Thursday from 5 to 5:30 p.m. This new season, we are looking at solving issues concerning properties. So if you have bought a land and you are having issues, you bought a house on this very show. So if you are looking to buy a land, a house, or even to rent an apartment or a house, this is the show you have to watch. My name remains Odanseni Odilia. Watch us this and every Thursday, 5 to 5:30 p.m. only on CTV.
CTV, Ghana's #1.
It's party time. On what even fair, Ola Bawo. As I introduce to you Safari Zoom Flex live on Ghana's #1. Don't shake the body. God, it's Friday. Of course, time is 10 p.m. sharp on Ghana's #1 with the man them DJ Last Week Official. We say Ola Bawo.
CTV.
Thank you for joining us on CTV, Ghana's #1. You're with the Darkwah on Master of the Game, where my special guest is a titan of the business sector in Ghana, a great man who set up a great African brand and expanded this brand to go around the world. But unfortunately, in one administration, somebody determined that this bank must go down. And I must remind you of this. You see, some time ago, Obama had to save certain businesses in America. Why? Because if the businesses went down in the long run, it would not inure to the benefit of the United States of America. Some time ago in the UK, the government had to think about saving Northern Rock. Why? Because if it... Why?
Well, I don't know why you should ask me why.
There must be something.
I set up, started something, and we built a great institute. It was a great institute. Take me out of it. I mean, the story is, it's a rare story to come out of Ghana, that we start with a staff of 3 from Cantonment and grow it to become what it was as a holding company with a bank and properties and logistics and Nigeria, and closed down. Fine. We ran into some problems with non-performance of the loans and things like that. Therefore, we needed liquidity support, which we went to Bank of Ghana. But even the liquidity support was granted when I had left. But I saw that we were having a problem, and I couldn't solve it, and I felt it could be me, because I had been a CEO from inception. So I said, listen, this is the time to bring a new pair of hands and eyes to come and try and change whatever I'm missing here. So I had put also in place a restructuring plan with Bank of Ghana and everything, and we're talking about injecting new capital with new investors and a whole lot of things in a document. So I didn't see it coming. But again, I wasn't a CEO, but I was on the board, and I had gone to Kukrantumi weekend as usual. And then 6 a.m., people from the Bank of Ghana and the police and the press, what's happening? And I called my daughter and I said, you are not aware what's happening? I said, what is it? And I said, the government said they closed down UT Bank. It was a shock, really, but I said, well, I had not anticipated this. So I drove back to Accra and I tried getting in touch with Bank of Ghana to say, why and how come you acted like this whilst we're still talking about restructuring plan and investors and all that. Getting answers up to today. So to your question, why they had to close it, the answer lies with them.
You still don't have an answer?
I still don't have an answer.
All you know is they're prosecuting.
2.2 billion to collapse it.
Who signed that?
Must be the Governor Bank of Ghana. And of course, the Minister of Finance.
Because he reports to somebody.
Yeah. You know, and the point is, common sense approach. If somebody owes you 800 million and you spend 2.2 billion to make sure they don't exist, I don't get the rationale behind it. And in the whole exercise, and it's not yet finished, there are still a lot of financial institutions that are not viable. The government figure is about 25 billion. And I think the total assets for all these banks that they close cannot be 10 billion. So you ask yourself, where
did the money go?
Yeah. You know?
So there are a lot of questions.
And then not only did we lose money as a country, we lost jobs, we lost service.
You felt that this was a persecution and it was planned destruction of your enterprise that you're toiled.
It looks very much like that because it doesn't make sense in any other way. I mean, why? A whole lot of things that I don't want to even think about it, but at the time, nobody was prepared to talk to me. And even after, and this is very interesting, even after the bank had been taken, I go to Ochenye's place to dance because I'd been invited and I was happy. The dancing, what it cost me, it was the week after the dancing. You won't believe it.
Tell me about that.
So
I know about it, but tell the world about it.
So I was invited to Ochenye's 15th anniversary or 20th anniversary, one of them. And I went late and I went alone and I got there and I greeted from president, vice president, their wives and everybody. Everyone was there. And they gave me a small table head on the side, gave me some champagne. And then Pat Thomas' band was playing. I mean...
And you love your music and dance.
And you know, the thing is, then I said, one side,
exactly.
You also got your feet. Sabi Saudi, and you're by force. So I was so happy for the change female vocalist.
To use Safari, Zoom Flex, live on Ghana's #1. With Zoom Flex, you can join the fun wherever you find yourself via Zoomer. Ella, don't shake the body. God, it's Friday. #1 with the man them DJ Last Week Official. We say, Ola Ba Wo.
CTV, Ghana's #1.
Oh, wow.
Is that your reaction?
Well, I think it's the message is very clear. Because when this UT Bank thing came, I mean, the people were supposed to play all the part were my friends.
Yeah.
Close friends. And I was surprised that, you know, nobody could tell me anything and nobody wanted to see me after. And I said, well, it is what it is. Life should continue. So, yeah, Samuel is true. They all leave you. And the people that you think like you, apparently didn't like you that much. And I went to see one of the closest to them. And I said, why is this thing happening to me? You know what he told me? He said his best advice is that I should leave the country because they are going to harass me and take my passport and everything. I said, but you know, I can't live outside Ghana. So leave the country and go where? And I'm not guilty. He said, no, by the way they will harass you, you just go for about 6 months or 1 year and come back. I think they wanted me to leave the country so that they could just kill my reputation. And I had nowhere to go. And I said I will stay and let them do any investigation and grill and do whatever they want. But no human being would take me out of my country where God has placed me. Nobody.
2 days ago, I had a discussion with a fine gentleman who speaks beautifully, dresses well, very well educated. But I couldn't help but use some words that my son had previously used for a classmate of his. Some people are wise, but you are otherwise.
Thing.
I thought that was a German thing because the word is German. It's called Schadenfreude. Schadenfreude is where you enjoy the calamity of others.
Yeah, but we do. Most people, most Ghanaians.
But we don't have a word for it in our language. How is your case ending in court?
I don't know. I think, interestingly enough, the new governor was charged with me. But he suffered. That guy, he was spending more time in court than any of us. And if you want my opinion about it, I never understood why he was even charged to be in court. I never did it. But he was a deputy governor. He wasn't the final authority. So why was he charged to be in court?
I have a question, not just for you, but for the regulator. Bank of Ghana is a regulator. If these banks were going down, for how many years did you know it was going down? And what did you do about it? And these banks were winning awards, best bank in Ghana, best that in Ghana. So was the regulator working if what they use for prosecuting those who went to court is true?
I think the regulator was active, but partially. For example, they had the asset quality review, which is Bank of Ghana saying that, okay, let's review the quality of all the assets in the banks, and actually we won't let your auditors do it. So they swapped auditors. And it came out that the new auditors, so-called new auditors, did not agree with your regular auditor. And these loans were therefore picked up by Bank of Ghana. In our case, UT Bank, we ring-fenced it, and then we had to discuss with Bank of Ghana what to do with them. Now, the figures were frightening a bit because in our case, if we should write it off, as Bank of Ghana said we should write it off, it means we didn't have even capital to run the bank. That is, so in our case, the argument went on for a while, so we didn't have to even publish accounts until we sorted it out. But to your question, when Bank of Ghana ingests money into a company by way of liquidity support, at least I expect that they will appoint a director on the board.
Of course.
And it's in the regular more what's happening, and also to what...
And participate in corporate governance.
Exactly. And also what the money they're giving to them is being used for. That I found Bank of Ghana didn't do that. At least in the case of UT Bank, they didn't do it. I had to even prompt someone and said, listen, I'm out of the bank. And if you're giving liquidity support, you must be in the boardroom to know what's happening. If you look at even Bank of Ghana's structure and the number of financial institutions in Ghana, I don't think they're even, they have the numbers to really regulate them. So these are things that maybe will come out and the new governor will probably try and solve.
How did you survive this? This would break anybody.
No. Me, I will survive most things. It depends on your philosophy in life. I don't take life that seriously as you think I should take it. And I tell people, my scholars and things, I say, listen, you created unique, you're special, you're supposed to really impact the world and all that. 8 billion people. So really, you are zero. And therefore, whilst you're trying to make a small impact on the world, be resilient enough to know that anything that happens to you is just by His grace. And be grateful for any position. So then time called me and said, Kofi, where are you? And I said, well, I'm on my way to court. And I said, oh, why are they worrying you like this after the bank and I'm taking everything from you? And I said, no, calm down. Don't forget, this morning, people are going to hospital to be on dialysis. I am only going to High Court, Supreme Court, and come back and drink my whiskey. So please, my situation is not that bad. I said, you make everything look simple. I said, that is it. You have to really, really think about it and be grateful for every situation in which you find yourself. And if you are in great health, there's nothing else you should worry about.
If you look back at driving to work, seeing the building, all the staff who worked with you and for you, and all the customers you serve.
And being a creature or a creator of God, I'm not better than anybody.
I have 2 questions for you, but there's another video for which I'd like to take your reaction.
Not again.
Let's go to this.
Wants to date me. I think social media has made people feel like everybody wants to date me. Do you see how many likes I got on my picture? Do you see how many people are in my DMs? But interest doesn't necessarily mean value. Just because someone is interested in you doesn't mean they necessarily value you, or they actually want to date you. They might just want to smash you. So if we're honest about what it is, I truly value you.
Did you hear all that?
Yeah.
There aren't that many people that truly value us. We may be getting a lot of attention, but not necessarily a lot of respect.
Yeah.
And that's talking about the dating scene in the world.
It's so true. I can align to that. And really, that's why I'm saying that you don't really matter. I mean, if you die today, that's it, really. After very few people will just, remember you for a while, and that's it, you're gone. So you live your life and respect everybody, make the right impact.
To a young entrepreneur, and in fact, you're talking a lot of them now because of your leadership, what you call it?
Leadership Foundation, and Kofi Amoabeng Scholars.
And your books that you're writing. In fact, I'm working on one for you on the 20th of February.
Yeah, guide us. You should and put it in in the form of rules and policies, and let the people understand. Give them orientation about it. It's what is going to take us there, and be disciplined to the point that if you should fall foul of the policies, the prescribed sanctions will apply.
You put this to me in a very interesting way the other day. You say, it's the linesman.
Yes.
He's not looking at the players.
No.
He's looking at the line.
At the line and the feet. So once you go contrary to it, it should apply. And you should love the people. But loving them doesn't mean you relax with the rules. And actually with my staff, I remember one time, I said, why? They said, I'm laughing with somebody in the morning, but afternoon they said the guy is gone. And I said, I've never sacked anybody before. People sack themselves because you know the rules and you know what the sanctions are, and you decide to go contrary to the rules. And they sack themselves. So be fair.